We've been back in the UK for just over 2 weeks now, so it's been surprising how much we've spent. Twice as much as when we were in Europe, but also the levels of anxiety have increased significantly over where we park up. In Europe, you'll know that they've got things like airs right across France, which seems to be covered with airs. Every town and village has somewhere specifically where motorhomes can park up. They normally have fresh water and a toilet waste emptying, plus grey waste emptying. Sometimes the water needs to be paid for, so you need to go into the local shop to get a token and you pay for that, or you can pay on a debit card on the machine itself. Depends what type of air it is. A lot of them are now being converted over to camping car park card, so you pay extra, but they include electricity and probably Wi-Fi as well. So you get an extra, and they can be like between 10 and 15 euros a night, but that does include the electric. So you understand why they charge, and they're kept to a standard. And the reason our anxiety levels are so high on that is that there doesn't seem to be much like that in the UK, or at least in England, specifically in southern England where we are. So we would spend some time at Arundel in Mill Road, but that's been taken away. And that's really the nub of this video that I'm making today, is that there seems to be an erosion of van lifers' ability to park up and live peacefully across the UK. It's not like there's nowhere to park. Of course there is, but more and more there seems to be restrictions. You can only park for 4 hours, or you can't sleep overnight, or there's no camping. There's always, you can't do something. The specific case that I'm talking about, that we go to and stay for a few days and then move to somewhere else and stay for a few days there, move to somewhere else. Anyway, Arundel, what they've done is they've said, well, first of all, people were staying too long, and that, I think that is a problem. If you want to stay in one place forever, for a long time, extended periods, maybe you're not the travelling kind. We like to move around, we like to travel. You probably know that. It causes a bit of an issue for local residents, and the issue's not real, it's in their minds, I think. Seeing the same unconventional residents in the same place all the time sort of gets under people's skin, doesn't it? There's a problem if there's no facilities, like where do you empty your toilet? Where do you put your rubbish? We all create a bit of waste with packaging on food and on things we buy. More packaging than we've ever seen before. So you need somewhere to put that, and in Arundel, the particular place I'm talking about, there were bins all up and down the street, but a lot of them got quite full when they were emptied regularly. So Arundel, the waste management there was very good. There was a set of public toilets, but they got locked at night, so you couldn't empty at night. You could empty during the day, if you wanted to go down there. I mean, some of the complaints there were people were tipping their waste in the ditch, which is part of the river tributaries and culverts and so on. It's not necessarily the right thing to do. Some people were having sort of evening gatherings out on the grass verge with chairs, tables, wine, food. It's like a campsite, and I sort of don't have a problem with people doing that. Clearly, local residents would, because they do that in their gardens, right? And it's different. So people don't like different. But there has to be a point at which our community, the van life community, there's probably people like you that are watching this, say, no, you can't take away this freedom. There has to be something else. We do pay tax. Much as I hate paying tax, I've always disliked paying tax because there's so much waste. If they didn't waste so much, maybe there'd be money to put in waste emptying, fresh water fill up, and so on. Even if there wasn't any specific parking areas like there is in France, they call them aire de camping car, and they're specifically for motorhomes and camper vans, no caravans. And indeed, here's a funny thing: the motorhome, there was the signs in Arundel went up, no motorhomes, and what that means is no motorised vehicle converted for living, sleeping, that sort of stuff. So that's the sort of definition. But it didn't say anything about caravans. And I noticed that when there were no motorhomes, there were still a couple of caravans left. I haven't looked in the last week over there, but who knows? They could be caravans just parked up and down the road, quite legally, not a problem. So, I think I've been watching a channel called Roads Home, Mark at Roads Home, and he's been doing a lot of work, if you like, on the problem. I mean, he's up in sort of around Morecambe. He travels around and sees the problem, and he's actually gone out and interviewed local residents, people passing by, and local businesses in the area where he was parked up, and there were complaints and restrictions coming in. He couldn't find anybody to say, no, we don't want motorhomes parked on Morecambe Promenade. So you start to wonder, what is it? If you can't find anybody that's complaining, who is it? Is it one or two people? Do they have another agenda? But it does pose the question, who the hell do local councils think they are? They're there to serve us. We're part of the community. Yes, we're transient, but sometimes, like we do, we stick around Sussex most of the time, and we need places to park. We're full time. We don't have another home. We can't just go home and live. But we do, we pay for parking where we park. We'll book into campsites when we can afford to. We'll fill up with water you know, from garages or shops. You know, we use bottled water for drinking and so on. So, you know, we do pay our way, as it were. And Wendy and I spent, you know, over 40 years paying tax, paying our council taxes to local, and we weren't the most hungry of service users. So I think we're, you know, overall we're probably in credit, as it were. I know it doesn't work like that, but, you know, in retirement you expect a little bit of leeway, and this is our retirement. This is our retirement home. This is our home, and we need places to park that we can afford. I'm not looking to freeload. I'm not looking for the government to give me everything free. I'm happy to pay reasonable prices. But there's been suggestions that the councils can provide airs. That's a parking space with maybe toilet emptying paid for, and maybe water fill up paid for, but in addition charge £15 a night. That's a campsite fee where you expect a lot more. £15 a night, couple of quid for water, couple of quid for toilet emptying. That's 19, let's say £20 a night. I'd expect free electricity thrown in at that, and a warden on site for that sort of money. So are they greedy? Maybe they are. Are they wasteful? Well, councils definitely are wasteful. I know. I've seen a bit of that in some other bits and pieces I've been doing, not related to motorhoming. So I've seen the waste in councils, I've seen the waste in government. And is this just another way of grabbing money out of a community, or forcing us off the road back into bricks and sticks housing so they can charge us extortionate council taxes, extra money for collecting bins, extra money for policing, extra money for water, extra money for everything? I don't know. There definitely needs to be a campaign to stop the councils from implementing bans on parking everywhere. Some places, I agree, you know, and indeed a lot of the airs in France and Spain have 72-hour limits, which I think is really reasonable. You know, 72-hour limit, free parking, maybe you pay for water. There's always free toilet emptying, always, because that's, if you don't provide free toilet emptying, there are some that will just tip it down on the roadside or in a bush or down a surface drain, and that sort of doesn't work. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Not necessarily a rant, but just an expression of my displeasure with local councils that are eroding our lifestyle. Anyway, that's enough of all that. Thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next one, and take care. Keep on traveling. Bye bye for now.